Kirk McNair joins us. Bama Online joins us on today's announcement. Tyler Buchner of Notre Dame, who had 5 touchdown passes in the Irish's bowl game. And now he's a part of Nick Saban and his offense. Thank you for your time, Kirk. Does this mean that there were big concerns at quarterback from what they saw throughout spring?
Well, of course, I can't tell you absolutely, but my feeling going into the post after last season with the loss of Bryce Young was that if Nick Saban was not happy with his quarterback, he would go into the portal. When he didn't go into the portal in the early period, I thought, well, we'll go after spring practice. If he goes into the portal, that tells me he was not happy with the quarterback room. And, of course, that's what he did. So the conclusion then would be, yes, that that they felt they needed an upgrade.
Kirk, how different have things been for Nick Saban since Kirby Smart has now won back-to-back titles? It seems to me that he is playing from behind for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think that throughout his career, Nick Saban has, not been afraid of a challenge, and I think that he's probably more motivated than ever to get back to that, to get back to the playoffs and to win another national championship. What Kirby's done is pretty smart. He was on the staff he was on Saban's staff for years and years and years, and just basically taken the Saban plan and obviously done very well with it these past 2 years.
Kirk, what have been the early thoughts, I guess, on Tommy Reese? Obviously, there's a major connection and reason for why Buckner would have been looking at Tuscaloosa, but brought in as Saban makes over both the coordinator spots. What's kind of the thought process of what Bama fans can expect, and how do you think Tyler Buchner, other than the obvious of knowing the system and all that, how do you think he comes in and performs and improves that quarterback room with his skill set?
Well, let's start with the coordinators. Because he also is, not for the first time, almost every year, at least one and sometimes 2 coordinators get new jobs. And Saban, as they go with Saban's blessing, if they can do better themselves. And I think that what the 2 that he brought in, Tommy Reese and Kevin Steele, I think are both more physical type, coach more physical type games than what Alabama had been the last couple of years. Bill O'Brien, not to say he doesn't know football and is a good coach and has proved that over the years, but he was more of a let's go for the long ball, and I think Nick Saban would rather control the game more than that. And I think that's what Tommy Reese is brought in to do. He seems to have a handle on that kind of offense. I don't think he'll have any trouble to moving on. To your second question, I don't think that Buckner will have any problem whatsoever learning this offense. It's one that Reese will have some opportunities to tweak a little bit, but it's as Saban says, we don't bring coordinators in to bring their plan. We bring them in to run our plan. So it'll be the Alabama offense. There'll be some nomenclature, some type problems, but he can learn that quickly. Tommy Reese had to learn it in a month or so, and so I'm sure that Buckner can learn it, pick it up very quickly, and I'm sure they'll be very close knit over the next few months as that process goes forward.
Was that part of why you think Buckner, one, who wouldn't want to play at Alabama, especially if there's an opportunity to play, but the connection with Reese and Notre Dame, you think that had a big deal to do with Buckner picking the Crimson Tide?
Oh, I would think so. There's no way for me to know for sure, but it certainly makes sense. I think Reese recruited him and then coached him and named him the starter last fall before he got hurt, of course. So, yeah, I would say that was a very close connection, and that had a lot to do, very much to do with Buckner's selection of Alabama.
Kirk, they did maybe lack a little bit in the superb playmaker or experienced playmaker category last year after, years of the NFL draft kind of rating them a little bit. Have they taken the step up there, or is quarterback really the only glaring deficiency that Nick Saban saw on this roster?
He seems to feel that way. They've recruited well every year, as you know. Alabama's always first or second or so in recruiting. So you keep stacking up those good players year after year, even though Alabama has a lot of players, more than anybody really, who are only 3-year players. I think Alabama last year had 77 players in the NFL. So it's a replacement, but you're replacing with people who have been there and have waited their time, and they move on up and become good players. And I think, based on what I saw in the spring game, and I don't watch it as a game, I watch players. And I thought I saw a lot of good players on both sides of the ball. I didn't see any weaknesses anywhere, and I thought several positions looked better than they did last year.
Kirk, clearly coordinators, that's a yearly thing, as you mentioned, that they have to deal with. This quarterback situation is a little more unique than normal maybe this year, but now they provided a big answer there. You just said, though, that everybody looks pretty great, but is there another underlying storyline for the diehard Tide fans out there that is kind of the talk of leading into next season that's not coordinator or quarterback related?
Well, what's always on people's minds is how much longer will Nick Saban go? When he came here, everybody said 3 or 4 years at tops, and he's getting ready to start his 17th year. He's become the second in longevity at Alabama to Coach Bryant, and of course is moving up the charts in every category. And it's a pretty good situation when you have an 11-2 season and everybody's wringing their hands about the fall off. But of course, they didn't achieve what they wanted last year. They lost 2 games, both on the last play of the game, and so it's there's no reason to expect that Nick Saban won't be able to bring it back. But again, he's 71 years old, or will be 71, and he's nobody's immortal, so you have to kind of look at the clock and then wonder what comes next, maybe. But it won't be like it's been under Nick Saban. This has been a remarkable run.
So we saw Jalen Milroe play last year when they needed him to play. You have the freshman in Holstein, who's been highly recruited out of Mississippi, Ty Simpson, the freshman from Tennessee. In your opinion, or what do you think would have been the depth chart at 1 or 2 had Buckner not transferred to Alabama?
I think if that had happened, that they would have built the offense around Milroe, hoping, I guess, and working to make him more accurate in his passing. He's an outstanding runner. But you've got, if you're going to run RPO, you've got to have P. You've got to have passes completed. So he did not demonstrate that. So before Buckner, I would have said they would build the offense around Milroe. I think Ty Simpson has shown he's been here 2 springs in a year, and he's shown that he is a very polished quarterback. But inexperienced, of course, and he had some injuries this spring. And then the 2 freshmen, Eli Holstein and Dylan Lonergan, I thought both looked very good in the spring game. But of course, they weren't playing against the first team defense, and Milroe was, and Alabama's defense is pretty salty.
Hey, Kirk, thank you very much. Interesting. Tyler Buchner, Notre Dame, is now a part of Alabama, or officially will be soon. Thank you for your time, Kirk McNair from Alabama Bama Online. Here's a couple of notes on